What's up, everybody? Is another extra episode of INN News. It's me, Reef. I'm here with my co-host Collin Radix-Carter. People should know this by now. Our names are right underneath. You know, it's INN News.
You're struggling a
Bro,
little bit.
I'm on like Sudafed and Claritin. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone.
You could have asked me to introduce. I should be doing that more, I should say, anyway.
Sure. We probably need like an actual like intro, you know, something like that. I gotta come up with something other than just like, "What's up, everyone? We're doing the thing again." But anyway, aired last night, a bit of one of our INN friends, Tara Reade, INN member. We love her, you know. She went on Tucker again. Why is it just Tucker that brings her on? It still pisses me off.
Because it's a way to own the libs.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, and I know people are gonna make, I have not. This premiered last night. You said, right?
Yep.
I have not. No, I have not watched this yet. So
cool.
Per usual, for these reacts, we should actually call like these
INN reacts.
INN reacts or something.
Sure.
Or INN news reacts or something. But like, but no, this is as usual for your extra segments. It's usually me going blind and reacting like our audience is for the first time.
Right. Well, here we go. Who's this Tucker? Do I need to do my go back in time thing on this, you think?
I would.
Okay. Damn.
I would.
Going back in time before copyright can affect us. All right, and action.
The neoliberal establishment has decided it can't win arguments. Nobody wants what they're selling at all, so why even bother to convince anybody? So instead, they're going right to force, and you're seeing that all over our country. And one of the ways they're inflicting force on people, inflicting pain, is through civil suits. Bring them to civil court, because anyone can file a lawsuit. And so there are a lot of well-funded lawsuits trying to shut people up or punish them for stepping out of line. And here's the latest example. This has not gotten enough coverage. So Tara Reade once worked for Joe Biden. He sexually assaulted her, and she made possibly the mistake of saying so out loud. You're not allowed to do that. So in retaliation against her, the New York Times posted her social security number on her website. Can you imagine the ramifications of that? So Tara Reade sued the New York Times because you can't put people's social security numbers on a website. But a federal judge has now ruled against Tara Reade and said that she has to pay the legal fees of the New York Times. So they're still trying to crush her. And we think it's wrong. She joins us now. Thanks so much for coming on. Did I misstate any of that? I mean, it seems like you came out and accused the sitting president of a sex crime, and we've spoken at great length about this on the air, and I don't think there's any question that it happened. You said so at the time, and now they're trying to hurt you for saying that. That's what it looks like to me.
Yes, this is just one of the many things that they've done, you know, to try to silence me. But yeah, the lawsuit that I filed was because on the first story that they did, the New York Times, and you know, they used me as basically a whipping post all of 2020 to try to silence and discredit me. But the first story was on Easter Sunday, and I was woken up very early in the morning by a friend who lived back east and said, "Hey, the online story on New York Times has your congressional ID showing your social security number. We need to get it down." It took a few hours. We got it down, and they did comply with taking it down, but it was very awful. So I did try to file a lawsuit. I lost. The judge ruled that it was in the public interest to print it, and I then was slapped with attorney's fees from New York Times, upwards close to over $71,000. So. Yeah.
So you are not a rich person, I know from our conversations.
No.
So just two quick questions. How is it in the public's interest for the New York Times to publish your social security number of all private things?
Well, suddenly, I guess there was a great interest in freedom of speech, so in freedom of the press. So freedom of the press would be the impetus for that, and sort of a more of a legal argument. And I don't want to bore your audience with all of that, but there's been different ways that the Biden administration has come after me. They've come after me with the DOJ, with sealed warrants on my Twitter, which are of record, and there's been, a little bit of press about that. They took my, communications on Twitter and all of that. So yeah, it's been, watching Joe Biden take a wrecking ball I've been experiencing this wrecking ball to my life, but now I've been watching the last couple of years take a wrecking ball to the United States, including, the proxy war that Russia and that NATO and U.S. is fighting against Russia, and upwards of $100 billion going over there when we have dire circumstances here. So all of those things that I talked about, that I criticized Joe Biden about, besides the awful experience of being sexually assaulted by him when I was a Senate staffer in 1993, people are seeing just the true Joe Biden of how corrupt this regime is. And if there needs to be any regime change, it doesn't need to be in other countries. It needs to happen here. Now,
I agree.
So,
I agree.
Yeah.
We're seeing how cruel and ruthless they are. And not only they don't believe all women, they will hurt women who disobey. And you're a perfect example.
And further, Tucker, the New York Times has become, the legacy media has become like an arm of the Biden administration, like the DOJ and the FBI. I mean, look at what just happened to Matt Taibbi, who testified about, the different ways that they were trying to suppress U.S. citizen speech and using taxpayer money to do it and control the conversation and control the narrative. He got visited by an IRS agent the day of his testimony. So
they send the IRS to your house. Yeah. No, I'm not. So we're all waiting for that, and I know that you are. You're living it now. Tara Reade, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, first impressions, Care Bear.
Wow. So posting your security number apparently is freedom of speech, according to the New York Times, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they said it was in the public interest, quote unquote.
For what reason?
I mean, I think it's roundabout. It's partly because it's in that they showed the congressional ID, which they may not have known that Social Security number is on there, but it's clearly there. And if you got told, so I think it's one of those things where legally they wanted to just go away in any way possible. So,
Yeah, but this is, and I know Savvy reported on this when I watched, I guess, a clip of hers last night regarding Matt Taibbi. Was it? Yeah, Matt Taibbi, when he was testifying in Congress that the IRS came to his house. So it's like, this is an intimidation tactic, essentially. Since Tara spoke up, that they were like, okay, we're going to basically post this in a way to manipulate the situation, but more importantly, to shut you up.
Yeah.
So that's what this feels like to me. And the fact that Tara has kind of pushed back on them, and the New York Times are being like asses and being like, nah, we're actually
71,000 is what they're asking for her to pay the legal fees
for their mistake. Well, I won't
Yes.
call it a mistake, but for their discretion.
Yeah, for their fuck up. That because she lost her civil suit, they think they can put the entire world on top of her now.
But you know what, though? This isn't, I wouldn't blame the New York Times. I blame the Biden administration.
That too? Yeah.
Because, well, I would say if the New York Times actually did their job, they would be pushing Biden right now in regards to the claims that Tara
Well, to me, this is normally a thing that they would settle over. Something like this. Like a mistake like this, they'd be like, all right, we'll give you the money and move on. And that's probably what her lawyers thought,
Right.
Not realizing there's a lot more protection involved around her story.
Right.
So,
But it sounds like, this is again just speculation, but it sounds like the Biden administration is really pushing the media to basically do the dirty work on Biden's behalf.
Tucker himself is having the NSA look at his emails, is having, like, they are using the power of the deep state to, in every branch possible to control a narrative. You see them again going after Taibbi, discrediting Taibbi. Seymour Hersh, you name a journalist that is doing good things and exposing truth. Julian Assange is still locked up in Belmarsh on his way over here to be tortured. So, we're still kind of in this predicament here. Interesting enough, I don't know if you caught it. Tara called for regime change, which I think is a real baller move.
Right.
And Tucker agreed. No one caught that? No one caught. Yeah. Okay, just me. Okay. Tara was like, we're if we're gonna regime change everywhere else, maybe we need it here. And Tucker's like, yeah. Tucker, that you got to be careful. That could get you some trouble.
I don't think Tucker could say anything more.
Yeah.
For his job security.
Yeah.
So I think he was just kind of like, okay,
let's move on.
I don't think. Yeah, let's move on. I don't think he necessarily agreed with Tara. It's just like, yeah, whatever.
Sure. Then don't say you agree. How about that? Don't say you agree. Say something else.
Well, I don't know. I think he might be just placating her a little bit.
Yeah.
But
he could have said yep, okay. And then there's a couple of things he could. But anyway, I just thought that was funny.
But yeah, as I said, it's very strange.
Well, this is coming from possible indictment from Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene behind it, bringing her to Congress and so on. So we'll see how that goes. And if that happens, this is kind of retaliatory in some ways with this Trump indictment that is happening. So now that's happening, it might even be more reason for them to bring Tara to the stand as well. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know.
And I'll just say for the record, we're no fans of Tucker.
No.
But again, it's the idea of,
I'm a fan when he lies to us and says the right thing. That's about it.
But again, he is willing, and again, this is the idea of
they give him these opportunities. They give him so many lanes to take. So I'm not blaming him. He's just finding the blood in the water. So
and and people are like, well, why doesn't Tara go on?
No one's calling.
They're not going to have her.
She'll go on.
But also Tucker, and you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but Tucker has the largest audience in terms of prime time.
Anyone on cable, yeah. Yep.
So
and they killed all his advertisers. He's not beholden to the same advertisers that they are. The My Pillow guy is gonna call him and be like, "Hey, don't say that."
I think even with that, given that, this is kind of, in a sense, on target, because potentially he might lose his job as well, in a way, or potentially
whatever job he's got,
just having Tara on, because I'm sure a lot of his advertisers are not necessarily fond of the idea that he's having Tara kind of share her story, whether or not it works in the GOP's favor or not.
Well, I just hope she's not used politically, similar to how others were used. Monica's still not over that entire situation, so we'll see. I think Tara's a smart girl with that, so we'll see how that works. But yeah, I'm just appreciative Tucker is willing to bring someone like that on. But anyway, I think that's just about it. Stay tuned for stuff. Tara's podcast is right on this network. You can find it. Politics of Survival, usually every Fridays, and unless the guest decides to need a different time. But so keep an eye out for that. Anything else?
Stay tuned for more clips from our previous streams.
Yep.
At this network and channel, and
Like, follow, subscribe, follow at Get Indie News on Twitter to keep track of this stuff. Otherwise, all the links are right in that indienews.network. You'll see scrolling that way. It's also in the description below. But otherwise, go support Tara too at Reade Alexandra on Twitter. Anything else? I think that's it.
I think we got everything.
Cool. In that case, labels are bad. Stay independent. Good night, fam.